Hello, welcome to another World of Warships destroyer inspection. We are looking at the Yueyang. Yueyang being, in my opinion, one of the best destroyers in the entire game. Specifically the Radar Yueyang, more specifically the legendary mod Radar Yueyang. One of the highest impact, most versatile destroyers really in the entire game. Has the scariest torps by far to battleships and cruisers, especially without hydro. Has ridiculous, absurd radar, just an absolutely fucking bananas radar, and then like very respectable, not amazing, but getting close to the level of daring gunpowder with the build. Um, we are 6.5 concealment because we're running the ledge mod. And then we have 7.5 radar, and the radar lasts for 40.5 seconds. It's incredibly oppressive, this build, to DD players who rely on smoke to disengage. Obviously, a bit less oppressive on destroyer players who don't require smoke to disengage, but nonetheless, the gunpowder is kind of putting you like around the Holland, almost daring range with the build. We're running like Fearless Brawler, Reload mod, obviously, and Ledge mod, which buffs your DPM by 18%, and then the radar and smoke duration by 20%. Now, I am running the radar on Ledge mod, and I do think the radar is way better overall on Ledge mod Yueyang. But as a smoke bot, I'll go over this a bit more at the end of the video. Ledge mod Smoke Yueyang is the best smoke bot in the entire game. There's basically like not even a competition for that title. It's way better than Gearing, way better in my opinion than Harugumo. So that aside, we are a bit out of range, but I'm going to use the Torpedo reload booster here. And the reason why I'm doing this is because there's a Smaland, a Conqueror right here, right? If I got shot by either of these guys, I'm probably just perma-losing torp tubes. And then there's a Holland here, probably because running RPF on Akazuki would be like clinically insane. So I'm assuming that the Holland is here, right? So I want to just dump the torps, and then I'm going to go try to find him. The torp tubes on the Yueyang, they break. They break. They break so much that is why I'm including this replay. Not the whole replay like I normally do, just the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, while we talk about the ship, get the torps out, go over the specs a bit, and then I'm going to get in a fight with this Holland. And basically why the Yueyang, I think, lends itself so much to a gun build is not just that the guns can be good, which would be a reason. It's that, and also the torps are non-spammable. It's that the torp tubes break like fucking crazy. So here we're gonna get in this fight. Holland, of course, with a heal, has the equivalent of about 26,000 HP. So this is 22k HP versus 26,000. And as you can see, Shell's landing behind me. He gets help, and I'm basically not going to get any help. But you can see how very respectable this damage output is. And also, like Gearing, because you basically are a Gearing, but unfortunately you don't get that 20mm plate. This fight with Holland would be bullying in a Gearing because you have that wonky 20mm plate. So I perma-break his torp tubes, and he perma-broke one of my torp tubes. So very cool game design by Wargaming, the developer. Truly incredible that random HE shells can perma-break armaments that you rely on to get game impact. But we are going to kill this guy. He shouldn't have stopped shooting. He should have assumed that he's going to die, especially being on fire. But nice of him to stop shooting. And there we go. We lost both torp tubes. I'm not running Torpedo reload in slot 6, fellas. This is like just no modifiers. And I do believe I have preventative maintenance on this. Yes, I do. I do have preventative maintenance. So this is with preventative maintenance and not running torp reload with the minus 50%, the 50% chance to incapacitate. These torp tubes they're just the most fragile torp tubes in the game. It's why you absolutely can never take Torpedo reload in slot 6. You're kind of like actively trolling to take that. And that is going to, our battle impact for this game is over. But now, the impact was extremely high. Just in that short 3-minute engagement, we spotted their whole team. We racked up, I think we ended up getting about 100k spotting damage, basically just from that first 3-minute engagement. We hit 2 torps on the conch, right? And then solo killed the Holland. So That's the kind of like game impact that you can get in the Yueyang. Now, obviously, it's not as good of a ship as Smaland because Smaland can do that, but also heal, right? Smaland has like 30-40% better DPM, and it can heal, and it has the speed boost. So you're not a Smaland, right? But what Smaland doesn't have is the ability to one-shot any cruiser battleship in the game with torps, right? Like you do. You comfortably one-shot every ship in the game with torps. Uh, so we're just going to hop straight into replay 2. We're looking at 3 back-to-back replays. But I did just want to highlight, one, how comfortably you can win gunfights 1v1 against most DDs, even something with semi-decent DPM like a Holland. And then 2, why the gun build is so incentivized in my opinion. And, that is because the torp tubes break. You can't really take torpedo reload on this thing like you want to, right? In game 2, we're going to look at the full replay, games 2 and 3. But the Yueyang has this very, very unique combination of basically the highest torp threat in the game. In tier 10, against battleships and cruisers, you are simply the worst torpedo threat in the game. The combination of the negative, there's no reaction time in these torps. Wargaming would obviously make you think right here. Again, this is no torp build. 4.3 reaction time. In reality, we all know, I've said it in every video that we talk about torp reaction time. 4.3 torpedo reaction time is 2 seconds because of the way the spaghetti code renders objects in the game. And the netcode interacts with things. So there is just simply 0 reaction time, and this is why the Yueyang, in situations where Shimakaze with 12-kilometer torps would hit 1, 2 in a absolute best case scenario, the Yueyang all of a sudden stacks like 5 to 8 torps on people. Even when they're pushing nose in at an angle, things that would comfortably dodge, they would easily slide into gaps on Shima 12 km torps, even gearing torps, because gearing torps do have about double the reaction time, about 7 seconds. The threat of the Yueyang torps is almost unprecedented. You have pretty much the highest single-use impact in the game with this build of the 40-second stealth radar, and then you have decent guns. It's kind of just like the whole package just makes you very, very obnoxious to deal with for just like kind of almost all ships. And the other thing that the stealth on the torps, of course, enables you to do that you could never do in Shima is you can send torps that kind of go right past enemies. And then what you'll notice in the Yueyang, if you play it, is you hit a ton of what we typically call overspray torps. Like you aimed at a target or you aimed near a target, and you maybe hit 1 or 2, or maybe hit none. And then all of a sudden, like 6 kilometers behind, you get 4 torp hits because that guy probably never saw them. Right? If these torps pass, like, remember, because ships are double the length they're actually supposed to be in this game. Like, if these torps pass about half a boat length away from Montana, for example, he won't screen them for the other guy. This guy is torping my Sov, and we get to see here a very, very, very cool wargaming moment where I very, very clearly dodged the torp, not only in the live gameplay, but also in the replay. Just easily dodge the torp. It sails past my nose and then, counts as a hit. Truly incredible. What were we just talking about? We were just talking about how torpedoes don't render properly. Yeah. So the sub's an A, but he's diving in and out. Our sub, unfortunately, is not coming back to A. So we're going to get this cap here now. And I'm just going to kind of try to hang out because I want to see what the Fletcher does. The Fletcher might come back in, and while you are very good at hunting DDs that you out DPM with the radar Yueyang, you don't typically want to be pushing into them all the time. And that is down to basically having the worst shell arcs in the entire game, Yueyang gearing. I want to say they are literally the worst shell arcs in tier 10 destroyers. Not 100% positive, but these are the absolute worst, or like basically tied for worst. So this guy is smoking up because the Sov is spotted by the sub, I think. Well, I'm not quite sure how he's spotted, but this Fletcher wants to smoke and farm. So this is a really, really good opportunity of pushing. You are, with this specific build, with Radar YY in general, you are incredibly good at killing DDs that are in smoke. Arguably, better than Smaland, because you get way more time to farm them. The Smaland radar is a lot shorter. Now, obviously, if they leave the smoke and you have to actually kill them 1v1, something like a Smaland kills them, 30% faster and has a heal. But we're going to radar this guy, and you see how we're dark. I waited until I got behind the rock for this Montana. Unfortunately, the sub popped up to spot me briefly. But this guy has just, like, no chance. Like, there's zero chance he will ever survive this. He will just never, ever, ever survive this engagement. There is zero chance. He's dead. He could stop shooting now. You see the radar's only half over. I think he's probably trying to get torps off before he dies. And there you go. You see where the sub just pinged me from? He's still, like, periscope depth, middle of the cap. And we still hit Montana with torps. We basically shot directly over him. And that is, again, down to the stealth on these torps. So, just kind of already we've gotten these 2 torps. They have a very good flood chance as well, we should mention. And you see how low this Montana is. There's no way you should ever let a guy this low get a heal back. The fact that he's not already healing tells me he definitely doesn't have it. We might take a salvo from him. He might even 4 or 5k us with his back guns, but still a situation you should 100% of the time go for the kill on. Even if he started healing, we would probably get a fire. Yueyang, let's talk about fire chance, has some of the worst fires per minute in the entire game at tier 10. I think it's like 4.5 fires per second base. But because the fire starting is bad due to fire chance and not shell hits, that means that you are a candidate for some of the highest fire chance improvement. We'll go over that at the end in the build, but you can get Yueyang up to, like, kind of crazy fires per minute. Not crazy, not quite like a Daring with fire chance spec, but you can get it up to, like, well over 8-9 fires per minute. We are not quite running that build here. This build, we're probably at something like 7 fires per minute, which is not great. But, you do consistently start fires with, say, 20-30 seconds of farm on a battleship. And now, you see where the Vamp was last spotted, if you look at the minimap. But, if you also look at the B cap, you will see that we are taking it. So, the Vamp has left the B cap. I'm going to torp for the Mecklenburg to kind of just stay roughly where he is, because I don't think he will push into the cap. And I just got located, so the Vamp is coming my way. He has to be coming my way, because look how close to Brisbane is to where he was last spotted, right? So I definitely want to turn out. The Vamp has way more DPM. Basically, he has like the same damage per salvo, but his base reload is like 2.1 seconds probably. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the kind of crazy power of the Yueyang radar when you use like just a utility radar. My sub spotted this guy, and he's going to probably get dark when the sub dives, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just tool around. Nice, hit a torp on the mech. You see 14,000 damage, fire, or flood, pretty good. So what's probably going to happen is when this guy gets dark, he's probably going to start turning in. And you see there, he was already starting to turn in. But I'm not going to shoot yet. He's got the same HP as me, and he has more DPM. So I don't want to risk that he's a bad player. But look where his gun's just aimed. He's got his guns aimed on the sub, and that is the reason why I opened up when I did. Because even with his very, very good 360 turret traverse, I was going to basically guarantee 3 if not 4 shots before he would ever return fire on me. You see the radar is still going, right? It's still fucking going. And now, because we got the ambush on this guy, because my first 3-4 salvos gave me like a giant HP advantage, right? He started slightly healthier than us, but our ambush gunfire got us like 7,000-8,000 damage. That made it unwinnable for him. So even though he was still radared, he could not afford to shoot back because he would get himself hard spotted. And also, he's probably a semi-competent player because you see how far the battleships are. He's the only thing that can spot me, right? So if this guy smokes up, nothing can spot me. Look how far Montana is, right? Hayate, I guess could be coming back. I don't know that for sure that he's not, but he's probably not. But because there's nothing nearby, why would I not blind fire him? And now, because I have such a high HP advantage, I have the deterrence, right? When he was slightly healthier than me, or even honestly like similar on HP, right? If this vamp is 10k and I'm 11k, even if he's 8k and I'm 11k, that's a pretty fair fight, 8k versus 11k for him. But I have the deterrence now because even if he comes out of the smoke to spot me when I was blind firing him, he can't shoot back, right? He still can't afford to shoot back. Um, and I mean, again, I guess he's just not. I guess he's just like not figuring out that I'm gonna keep blind firing him. I mean, I just hit maybe 5 shells on him, so there's just no reason I would stop blind firing him. You see here the Montana is still over a kilometer outside my max gun range, so there's still nothing that can spot me. And we can talk about mods real quick. Um, it's not actually showing because I disabled the mods. I'm trying to make it a bit more of a pleasant viewing experience. But there's a mod that tells you the center distance to the smoke puff. Um, and that's a really good mod to have. It can let you know exactly if you're in radar range of a smoked up guy. So, I mean, gets a salvo off, misses. Montana's going to shoot me. Mecklenburg's going to shoot me. So I definitely want to go dark here. But I'm definitely not going to die. I'm at a long enough range. The Yueyang is quite nimble, and also very, very low in the water. It is one of the hardest destroyers to hit on a same speed basis, right? Like we're not talking about hard to hit like a Mars. This guy is blind. I didn't even notice this earlier. This guy is blind firing me at 17 kilometers. That is, as we might say, giga cringe. Not a bad blind fire though. So I am now, 2 battleships without hydro. It's if you do not have hydro and you were in a battleship or a cruiser, this boat is turbo toxic cancer AIDS. One of the most toxic destroyers in the entire game. All things considered, the radar, like not just against targets without hydro that you can torp, but with this 40-second radar and this decent DPM, this maneuverability, the low in the hull factor that you're harder to hit. The Yueyang is really toxic. I don't want to say it's objectively overpowered because obviously you just even with this full all or nothing DPM build, look at this though. Imagine these were 12-kilometer Shimitorps. You tell me how many this Montana would hit. At the very fucking most, that would be one torpedo hit, right? At the very most, a competent player, if he was torped by 12 km Shimitorps at that range, would have hit at most one because he would have easily seen the gap, and then it would just be a question, can he fit through it? Because we got 6 torp hits, the premium captain does give us a torpedo reload booster. That's not really kind of why I'm playing the Yueyang. You see here, I haven't even used it, right? So I'm just going to use it right now because if you look at the time, there's 7 minutes left. So it's like I either use it now and then send a set of torps and then a set of torps with a reload booster, or I hold on to it and maybe don't even get to use it at all, right? But this game is just, I mean, it's 100% won. It wouldn't matter if this Mecklenburg killed Brisbane and GK. It legitimately would not matter. He would still be a free kill to me. His guns are the wrong way. That's why I'm shooting now. Because, might as well, right? Why give him the chance to... why give him the chance to shoot my Brisbane, right? Let him shoot me. He's not going to one-shot me, obviously. And then I can go dark, and he'll get that one front gun salvo off. And also, I'm also shooting because you notice I torp for him to keep kiting out, right? And then he turned in, so he was never going to hit the torps. So kind of the hope would be, because his guns were aimed to the south, that this would happen. Exactly what ended up happened. If his guns were to the north, it would imply that the blind fire again, dude. This man is cringing hard out here. If his guns were to the north, his rear guns, that would imply that he would probably turn the other way. But because he was swinging his guns already to the south, then there was a chance that if I shoot at him, he would oversteer to shoot me, right? That's kind of the idea. Uh, it's like the oldest trick in the book. It's honestly incredible to me that people still fall for that in World of Warships. you're in a low HP destroyer against a battleship that absolutely could kill you, like Mecklenburg has railguns with amazing dispersion. He absolutely could kill me if he wanted, like if he was good. So the idea that I'm just like shooting to shoot, I guess doesn't cross people's minds. Um, but it's the game impact. You're not going to get crazy high average damage in this Yueyang build because one, in a feast or famine against battleships and cruisers, you don't have the torp reload, right? That's really the only thing you're giving up with this build is the torpedo reload. There's kind of no point in taking speed. So you're giving up a bit of torp reload, a bit of torp DPM, but the Yueyang doesn't have DPM torps, right? Because they can't hit DDs, right? Even Shima has arguably DPM torps. Um, you spam them out. You spam them at DDs, right? You don't do that in the Yueyang. So giving up torp reload on the Yueyang kind of doesn't really cost you anything unless you're balls deep in the enemy flank or holding a push and you're trying to spam torpedoes. So it kind of naturally lends itself to building more for guns. And the base DPM on Yueyang is thoroughly torp boat DPM, right? Like you do not have competitive DPM without building for it on the Yueyang. Um, but the thing is, there's almost like no point in taking a lot of the torp skills. Uh, yeah, it's just a weird situation, but you see here 7 hits, 6 floods. We are taking the flood chance. You basically have like Shima flood chance if you take the flood, if you take liquidator on the captain. Um, yeah, pretty solid. I mean, like okay spotting damage, whatever. Um, and not great damage, but like you see how hard we outplayed the destroyers. Like how hard you can outplay the destroyers and how much did they do back, right? Fletcher did 2,800 back and we did 17,000 to him because we radared him. The Vamp did 800 damage and we did. Not many ships can bully a Vampire too. The Ledgemon Yueyang, if you play it smart, you can bully a lot of these strong destroyers in it. And it's just like how hard you misplay them because they try to rely on their gimmicks, and then this radar is like totally nullifying a lot of the gimmicks. Um, and not only strong but fun, and that's a big thing for me. If you've watched, any of the videos on this channel, you know that I don't typically enjoy just playing the meta ships all the time. To me, I think it's more enjoyable, more fun to get like a 60 solo win rate in a non-meta, sleeper ship, than it is to get like 65 in a ship that like anyone with fucking 4 fingers and 3 brain cells can play, like Smaland, right? Um, or Gdansk. But Yueyang is fun and strong. It's one of my highest solo win rate DDs. I think I have like I believe it's 65-ish percent win rate in like almost 100 solo queue games. It's one of the best solo queue destroyers. I really, really do think that the Radar Yueyang with gun build, one of the best solo queue destroyers in the game because you can kind of do everything. Like Daring can kind of do everything, but Daring definitely cannot spot and bully smoked up DDs like this thing can. Daring definitely has not even a tenth, legitimately not a tenth, the torp threat to battleships and cruisers that the Yueyang has. This matchmaker, quite problematic. As you see here, Smaland, that's a big issue. Piemonte is a big issue, and then Nakimov's a problem. The AA is, it's shit, right? It's Destroyer AA. It's not special in any way. It's pretty shit. Fortunately, it's an Nakimov who doesn't have a lot of tools against Destroyers, but it's mostly the spotting. But you see here on the minimap, Smaland was detected. So, and then you see 3 of their cruisers are over here. So that means the Minotaur has to be here. He has to be here. Piemonte played middle. Jinan went from middle to flank, and Ibuki spawned flank. So there has to be a Minotaur here, and there has to be the other destroyer here. I think it's a Shima, yeah, because the Yugamo is div, and there you see his torp. He's wide spreading torps through the cap, I think. Interesting. So there's the Minotaur. Now, this is kind of an awkward situation, because there's kind of like 3 ways I could play this, right? I could try to get the cap. The problem is that, the Minotaur is here. Not that he can really threaten me, but I don't want to get torped by the Shima. I'm kind of concerned about the Shima hanging out here to torp me. So I'm debating, do I want to cap here and risk Shima torps, or do I want to, go to B? Because going to B would not be a bad idea in this situation. but I do have 3 ships behind me, right? Like, there's 3 of us versus a Shima and a Minotaur, so we should be totally fine. And I kind of do want to sit here and maybe radar the Minotaur if my Condi, right? You see my Condi's getting on the flank. So my original thought was I could sit here and radar, but the Shima is over here on the flank, and my Thunderer killed himself. So that's a problem. It's obviously undeniably a big problem. So I need to go over here and try to get the Shima off here. Um, these guys are, I think they weren't even using Hydro either. Kind of unfortunate. So, it's one of these things, cap or spotting, and my my overall opinion on destroyer gameplay in general is the cap can wait, and getting a kill, like, you have to remember, right? A cap is only worth, you times this by 12 for a minute. A cap is only worth 36 points for a minute. So me going on that cap for a minute to get it, and then us keeping it for a minute, that is a 2-minute investment to give my team 36 points. That is just almost never the play. And you see here, the Shima came back and is spotted. And this is the power of the radar if you have a teammate. And this fucking Condi, what's he going to do? He's going to shoot at Destroyer's Eye radar. It's unbelievable. But I mean, you see I'm getting like very, very, very respectable damage. But like, this guy's dead. I mean, now my Condi shooting at him means he's dead. The outcome is in fact 100% certain. Because he helped me just enough on the Shima for us to kill him. And the radar just still has 10 seconds left. Like, he's never getting out of the radar. We get away from Minotaur. Now this is the time where sometimes you have to make a play. And you might be thinking that this game looks pretty decent. But the problem is that our ships at A are kind of trapped at A, right? And they have middle positioning. Their carrier is being useful. Our carrier is not being useful. The Minotaur is here. He's going to cap or keep. Like, I can never cap against the Minotaur, right? So since I can never cap against the Minotaur, I just made the decision that I'm going to make a play on the Columbo. And I'm just going to push up to this island and get ready to make a play on him. And I am telling you right now, I would not do this in any tier 10 destroyer that's not the Yueyang. And that is because of the Torpedo Reload Booster, the Torp Alpha, and the Torp Stealth. These torps have no reaction time. Even if he knows they're coming, he doesn't know how I'm torping until it's way too late. And you saw the shells just now, right? You saw the shells just left the island. So I'm, torping his nose because he's absolutely going to accelerate. But once he accelerates, he's probably going to turn in, right? He has to accelerate to get speed to make the turn. So I'm torping assuming he's a decent player, right? I'm torping assuming he has a brain. And he does exactly what I expected him to do because he does have a brain. He is making the probably like overall objectively correct decision, and you can see there, he did not even react. You can tell if you were looking at his turrets. If you were looking at his turrets when the second set of torpedoes came in, you could tell basically the exact moment he realized there were 10 more torpedoes on him, and it was like 2 seconds before he died, right? So, I mean, 8 torp hits. There is simply no other tier 10 destroyer that can get that kill. There just isn't. Even Hayate, with its Torpedo Reload Booster, does not get that kill. It just doesn't, because he sees the torps coming, and he's able to turn just enough to, instead of hit 8, he would probably hit 4 or 5, right? And that is the power of the torpedoes. Sending 20 of these deepwater torps against ships without hydro, they have no warning. They have no warning. Here we have the good play, right? Admittedly, a good play to get that guy killed. I lost almost no HP for it too, so it was highly successful. But now the problem is, what is the Minotaur doing? What the Minotaur should be doing is going over here to kill me, because I'm a free kill, right? That's why I'm parking here like a bitch. He should have already been coming for me, and I would have died. But I am slowing down here to hope that maybe he took too long to push me. And then I'm, begging my carrier, like, please come spot the Minotaur. We have a Satsuma, a Hindenburg, so they could, like, straight up kill him if he spotted, right? But if I know he's not here for some reason, then I can leave. And you might say, well, I could use the radar. The problem with using the radar here is the Minotaur hasn't radared in minutes, so he has his radar, or his hydro. So if I radar him, then not only does he already instantly know exactly where I am, if he's here, right? And he's not here. So if I had radared and he was here, he would counter radar, push, and kill me. If I had radared and he wasn't here, it's a waste, right? So the idea being kind of either situation, it would be a mistake to, like, objectively, it would be a mistake to use that radar because it would either give me information that ends up getting me killed or it would be a wasted radar. So I don't know why he didn't push me. Like, honestly, a clinically deranged and insane decision by this Minotaur player, because he just watched me Dev Strike his Columbo with a reload booster. Like, I didn't even have torps. I mean, this guy would kill me and take 5,000 damage in return, right? So, I'm just going to go ahead and torp him. I want to get on C, but, you know, the Nakimov's here. So it's kind of dubious whether I'm going to, you know, be able to cap, but it's just one of those situations where, like, an attempt has to be made, and he's radaring, so I just have to go purely nose into him. The Ibuki, the Patri are on my broadside, but Minotaur AP, I mean, it's, you know, 700,000 AP DPM. If you don't go perfectly nose in, it kills you faster than, like, basically any ship in the entire game. So, but if you do go nose into Minotaur AP, this is what I meant. If you watched, and there you go, the Satsuma one-shot him. What a guy. Imagine the carrier had spotted that Minotaur when he was capping, right? We would have not even lost the cap. And the reason I sent those torps at Patri, which were obviously terrible, terrible torps, two reasons. One, I just kind of assumed I would die, so I wanted to get him off no matter what. Because I honestly didn't expect Minotaur to get one-shot by Satsuma or die to my torps. You know, I was hoping that would happen, obviously, but not predicting it. And then I was kind of thinking the Ibuki would do, again, like, the intelligent play and push in like this, instead of the way that exposes him to Satsuma for way longer and risks him dying to my torps while crossing the gap. So he didn't, but he is playing smart now. He's coming into the cap. That's why I used the radar in that situation, right? Because he obviously cannot radar me back. I needed to know, was he turning out or going in? And I'm going to shoot here because he's not going to kill me. He's going to get probably one, maybe two shots off. And the idea here is I just have to do something to him now because my CV has proven he's never going to help me, right? I've been asking him constantly for support, and he's been refusing to help me. He just is kind of dropping targets that our Satsuma is going to kill anyway, which is unfortunate. So it's like, yeah, I'll throw away 3,000-4,000 of my HP to do the same to Ibuki. And now we have another awkward situation. Does he push my ass or does he push my nose? What would be the smart play? Well, the smart play would be to push my nose or to gray line like this. Because he has his Hydra on, right? So what he should do is gray line like this or push my nose. And I get dark. And what I thought when I got dark was, oh, he did what I thought. Like, he did the smart play. He went like this. He turned out, because there's no reason to fight me, right? The game is over. We can't win. They have 3 to 4 ships. They have 2 to 3 caps. Literally all this guy had to do was turn out like this. So that's why I'm backing up. I'm backing up because I assumed the Hydro ended because he turned out by sweeping through the cap, which again would be like the objectively correct and intelligent decision. But you see me turn back because I would have spotted him by now, right? I would have spotted him by now, so that means he has to be on my nose, right? So I have the torps back. It's an Ibuki. The guns hit kind of hard. Realistically, he probably takes 3 shots to kill me. And he's horribly, horribly misplaying this. I have absolutely no idea why he's bow in. I have legitimately no clue why he is bow in. I don't deserve to get this kill. If he was kiting out and able to use all his guns, you know, and I'm staying on AP. You might wonder why. I'm trying to break turrets. Like, you have fairly okay AP. Even these non-pens, remember, turrets have accumulative health. So I'm just going for the turret knocks while he's pushing in on me. I will kill him with AP in the superstructure, but to me it's more important to knock 2 or 3 guns out. Like even a fire just probably wouldn't tick long enough. So I probably live that. Two reasons I live that, right? One, I'm a full gun build. I don't live that without gun build on Yueyang. Almost for sure, I don't live that. I don't do enough damage. And then two, the gun knocks basically totally gimped his damage output on me. So this is a situation. There's 6 minutes left in the game, and we're triple capped, and our team can never get B or A. Okay, so the question here would be, do I invest a minute and a half plus time to get C with a carrier humping me? And you see he got incredibly blessed RNG, right? And the Smaland's at A. So we're not going to get A. We're 100% not going to get B because our CV's still AFK. He hasn't figured out as of like, as soon as that Pricen died, the CV should have been autopiloting to B. Satsuma's playing very well, to his credit, right? He is playing very well, but the CV's humping me. So like, I'm never going to get the cap anyway, right? I'm never going to be able to cap C because the Nakimov planes are coming every 40 seconds on me. So, I just have to go nose in and, yep, just basically the luckiest human to ever play World of Warships. Um, so now that means one more skip bomb kills me. I'm obviously not really shooting down any planes. Um, but yeah, this is a situation where you can't cap, right? This is a situation, and we're going to lose, spoiler alert. I'm not saying that this is going to win you the game. This is not some gigabrain strat that I've like bot whispered the enemy. This is the only viable play in this situation. I'm just simply never going to get C, and even if I do, it won't fucking matter because there's no universe our Satsuma can live for 5 minutes against the Nakimov. That simply is impossible. Nakimov Smaland on his ass. RCV, Smaland actually shoots down planes, right? So the only way I can keep Satsuma alive is making the carrier hump me. Because I do have a chance, especially against Nakimov rockets. He basically has to pre-aim these rockets, like you see here. And then he just didn't have the time to aim because you do have a fairly good air detect. It's like 2829, something like that. So he's never going to drop rockets on me. He's never going to hit torps on me. Really, his only way to hit me is and you see there, the guy said, I didn't even notice that. Bro destroyed my front turrets. Yeah, that's probably the only reason I won that is because I knocked his guns. Um, but so this is just RNG. Like, do I hit a skip bomb? Do I not hit a skip bomb? But two things. One, I can never cap because of the CV. Two, if I cap, that won't help us win anyway. And then three, if this guy goes for me, like you look at my Satsuma, he would already be dead. This guy would already be dead if he had been double skip bombed and rocketed by Nakimov. So I'm like frantically trying to get an angle. I did not think the CV would do this. But see, so you see here my Satsuma shooting at him, right? That was our only chance to win, right? This is not about, like I said, this is not about some uh, Giga Brain 200 IQ strat that I'm doing that no one would think of this. This is just the only play that could maybe win, right? These games are 100% losses unless you make there's a couple of plays that you maybe have a chance to succeed with. Um, Smalin's killing me, but I am just hoping. Maybe, again, it's about maybe the enemy fucks up, right? I'm hoping that maybe this Nakimov doesn't hard left rudder to the corner. But he does. The torps aren't going to reach, right? Because if he had turned back in or something. So yeah, pretty much there's no winning that game. There's just simply no winning that game. But maybe our Satsuma was able to kill Nakimov. He wasn't. To be fair, it's a very long range shot at an angle. You can't really expect him to get that kill. Like that's not a fair expectation. That's a very hard shot to hit, right? Um, and that's the game. Unfortunately, kind of down to our carrier being carrier difference. Um, you know, trying not to turn this game into a CV rant, but really the biggest problem with carriers, there's many problems, but I actually really kind of think the biggest problem with carriers is that there's too much, you're too dependent on one person. Like their Nakimov spotted all game long, went for the right targets pretty much at all times. Like he recognized, like Most CV players, I'm telling you right now, would angle to me and they would go, funny damage, and they would go drop the Setsuma for 60, 70,000 more damage and pad their stats, right? But this guy rightfully recognizes that our only chance to win is maybe I spot him for Setsuma to kill. So he is able to read the room and realize that he has to go for me. Um, so, just kind of an unfortunate situation overall. Even though he's like very low on their team, in my opinion, he played like objectively superior to our Nakimov. Even though he's slightly lower base when you factor in the win rate. Yeah, a high game impact play, making the right decisions is not always rewarding in a CV. You are better off just damage farming AFK. 1.6 something base. Um, we complimented the Satsuma. He played very well. He was trying to help us as much as he can while staying alive. But you see there, full to zero dev strike on the Columbo. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And then this Ibuki, we hit only one torpedo. A lot of gun damage, right? Very respectable gun damage. The Yueyang gun build with ledge mod pumps out kind of really, really respectable DPM. It really does. Um, it's kind of just the whole package on this ship. The whole package of like almost daring gun power with like Moskva radar duration, Moskva Nevsky radar duration. Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have the range. I'm not comparing it in that way, but at the same time, you can position in a way that guarantees you radar people for 40 full seconds. You also can't really say that of Moskva and Nevsky most of the time, right? So yes, we're not comparing this to a radar cruiser exactly, but it kind of is like a pocket radar cruiser. Because it's able to get in positions, right? Unlike the Smaland, right? The Smaland is a DD hunter. You're not a DD hunter because you can't afford to commit on people. You don't have the heal. You don't have the speed boost. You have like 30, 40% worse DPM, right? So you can't just one for one trade and commit on DDs like you could in a Smaland. Um, but it's the high game impact, right? Like I said in all these replays, we're trying to play high game impact fun ships. To me, that's the pinnacle of World of Warships. Is a game, a ship that can get okay damage, right? I mean, these games, we're not counting the game we fucking got perma'd in, right? You perma lose your torp tubes in a DD that gets half its damage by torps, right? But you see the kind of torp damage we're getting. Like 9 hits this game. I think we had 7 last game. And even 2 in the first game with 1 rack. Like, you don't really, this is my point, is you don't really give up, like, almost anything to gun build on the Yueyang. You don't have, like, Holland torps. They're not spammable. You can't hit DDs with them. Uh, they're predictive. You predict the torps in Yueyang. They are not spam torps. So, giving up, like, 20 seconds of torpedo reload to make the guns better, to me, is just kind of like a no-brainer decision. Even if you run smoke, like I would still build for the guns if you're a smoke player. I don't think you should play smoke. I think you should learn how to play radar Yueyang. Um, and also, if you are a smoke DD player, um, playing smokeless destroyers will just make you so much better at playing destroyers. It's kind of crazy. Like whenever I mostly play no smoke DDs. I play like a lot of Yueyang and some Ragnar or like some wonkier ships that don't like smoke disengage maybe perhaps. Um, but then what happens is when you play a smoke DD, you feel like you're playing the game on easy mode. Like when I play the Shima, I feel like I'm literally playing easy mode, World of Warships. Like I'm playing co-op, but the enemies have I don't want to. Are the enemies better in randoms than co-op? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like chill. It's such a chill experience because you're like so much. You're almost never in danger. Uh, but the positioning knowledge that you get, the awareness, the game sense that you get by playing a radar destroyer, and not a turbo overpowered one like Smaland, and not we just looked at Ragnar, not one where you like have a really hard time dying in to DDs like Ragnar. But playing a ship where you like have to work for it and you don't have a smoke, um, it's like if you're trying to just get better, even in smoke radar, like if you're a smoke Yueyang player and you want to get better at smoke Yueyang, like unironically you play radar Yueyang because it will like teach you to position in a much smarter way. because of the worse concealment, the radar. You have to like pay attention to the matchmaker. You have to pay attention to the spawns, right? Because like even in that first mini replay we showed, like even something like a Holland can like somewhat favorably trade against you. So you have to be like very careful who else can shoot you, right? And then, but if I was playing Smoke Yueyang, I would just be like, I outspot the Holland. I would shoot him like 5 times, and then what happens is you like are baited into smoking and you smoke up, um, and a lot of the times that's not the play. But yeah, let's hop back in the port, quit the app session, and we can go over the spec. Okay, let's start with equipment. Um, Basically everything here is a standard radar build, and then obviously we're running the legendary mod. I do think, like I said, radar Yueyang is kind of like a solid, most of the point of playing the ship, like playing the ship for why it's good. Um, yeah, you'll definitely probably average higher damage if you run Smoke Yueyang for sure. But less game impact, right? And you know, like I say in every video, I'm not really the damage farmer. I'm more trying to do the game impact playstyle. So you want radar mod, and then if you're running Smoke Yueyang, you would just grab engine boost. But while I do think that radar Yueyang is the play, the smoke on Yueyang, like I said at the very start of the video, you're the best smoke bot in the game. Look at the dispersion time and look at the cooldown time. With this build, there is a 4-second gap where you are without smoke. So, you could obviously supplant this even more by running Smoke Gen mod. You run Smoke Gen mod on Yueyang and Superintendent, and you will have 6 smoke screens that have 40-second action time, 84-second dispersion time, with a 4-second buffer in between, and you have 6 of them. So you basically have about 12 minutes of permanent smoke. Like if you have a player in your who wants to deal with you and you want to give them like the most inflated Annapolis stats or something in the entire game, most inflated Jacksonville, Worcester, Des Moines stats in the entire game, um, and be a permanent smoke bot for them, the Yueyang basically fills that role significantly better than Gearing if you're playing it just for that. So that is something to consider. Yeah, 12 minutes of non-stop smoke basically. But I do run radar. I do think, like I said, it's like it's like so good on the Yueyang to have this radar. And then we're going full build, right? So we're taking 20% here. The legendary mod gives you 20% radar. Also, this gives you plus 20% smokescreen dispersion time. I actually forgot. Um, that's why, right? Because normally, if you take smoke on Yueyang, you're actually without your smoke for like a solid 30 seconds from when it ends to when you get the next smoke reloaded. So you really do have to have the ledge mod to be that smoke bot. Um, Pretty cool. It's pretty funny. It's undeniably pretty funny to smoke up a radar cruiser for 12 minutes nonstop. Um, yeah, we are running radar, full DPM build, like I said. Giving you a very respectable with Fearless Brawler, right? You have like a 2-6 second reload. Pretty good. Captain wise, also, it's going full into utility as well. Um, so this is kind of like maximizing the radar, getting that radar to be 40.5 seconds. There's definitely some points you could probably play around with, like if you drop consumables enhancements, then yeah, the radar doesn't last as long, but you could drop like consumables, turret traverse, and consumable specialist. Um, I actually thought I was running flood chance, but I'm not. So you saw there the flood chance, flooding like 6 out of 7 torps in that one game. That's not even with liquidator, right? So basically the idea is on the gun build Yueyang, and then what you could do is you could also drop these two skills and run a bit of torpedo reload, undeniably. And that's what I mean when I say you don't really have to give up anything. Like, this is greed, right? I'm fully admitting that this is greed on making the radar silly and goofy. But the thing with Yueyang is, like I said, torp speed is like a totally irrelevant skill on the Yueyang because one of two things is happening. The ship you're torpedoing has hydro and sees the torps coming 3.5, 4 kilometers away, and your 4 extra knots is literally meaningless. Or they don't have hydro and they have 2 seconds to react anyway. Like, it's a weird situation, but like torpedo speed just never has any impact on if you hit something, really. So basically, you have like 3 points here you could drop, right? So you could easily drop these 4 points even and go fill the tubes and liquidator for like guaranteed flood chance. That's definitely viable, but like even with a torp build, I would still run Fearless Brawler on this thing. Like to me, there's almost no reason not to. Or you could even drop these and grab Superintendent, right? But this is just going, 3 radars, full greed basically, is kind of the main idea there. And I mentioned about the fire chance earlier in this video, and what I mean is your base fire chance is 5%. So if you take both of the flags, that gives you 6%. And then if you run the wrong captains, they have an improved fire chance. It's not showing it, but they have an improved fire chance. This is 1.5%. So just by running these two flags and this on like Da Wrong or Qua Wrong, just doing that brings your fires per minute from 4.5 to almost 7, right? It's a 50% increase. Then, like I said, you're getting 18% more, 12% more, and 10% more, right? So like all of a sudden this Yueyang's horrifically dog shit fire starting of base is 4.5 fires per minute. You're kind of like basically doubling your fire chance overall. So like giving you, like I said, like 8 or 9 fires per minute. It's not god tier fire starting, right? Like you could build daring for fire chance and you would have something like 12, 13 fires a minute, obviously. But the point being that because the fire chance is bad due to chance per shell to start a fire, not bad because of reload or salvo time, salvos. Um, like that's kind of the idea. It's the same reason why like IFHE is super viable on like Harugamo and Kitakaze and Akazuki, but not on Wooster, because the base fire chance is so low that on those ships, if you take IFHE, you go from 5 to 2.5%, but then if you run the two flags and the captain skill, you're back up to 4.5% fire chance. So like you basically don't lose base fire chance on those ships if you run IFHE, right? Which is very, very not true of Wooster because the chance per shell is high. Right? Yeah, kind of the overall idea there. You get a 2 minute 15 second. The cooldown is improved, right? Obviously. So this is like just a pure game impact build, basically. We're trying to get 3 radars that last for 40 seconds rather than getting 4 radars that maybe last for like 33, 34 seconds, right? It's fun. It's a super, super fun, super strong build. Overall, there's really nothing interesting about the armor. Aside that light gearing, you actually get a bit of armor on the turrets, more than a lot of ships do. Like I mentioned, the torp tubes break constantly, but the size of this boat, the size of the Yueyang, it's a gearing hull, right? The size of the Yueyang is just such a reason why this thing is so much better at fighting than it really on paper has any right to, because it's like even with this full build, the DPM, like I said, we're getting with Fearless Brawler running, we're almost at Daring DPM, not quite, right? So nothing amazing. You don't have a ton of HP, right? You only have 22,000 HP. So you would think that like you kind of get bullied in gunfights against anything with DPM, but like, let's just pull up Holland, right? We fought that Holland in that first little mini replay, and like Holland is twice as high out of the water in the stern, right? The nose on Holland is way, way bigger. Than Yueyang. Like you're just such a tiny little thing. You're a tiny little thing. And like I said, the maneuverability is like really quite good. Obviously, we're running. Well, not obviously. I should maybe talk about this. Normally, people run prop mod, right? Um, I really, really like steering gears on the Yueyang. I really do. Um, Prop mod may be overall better, but yeah, it's such a nimble little ship. It really is a big reason why it wins a lot of fights that maybe it shouldn't, just like Gearing does. Like I mentioned, I think I misspoke. I think I said you had a 20 mil plate. Gearing has a 21 millimeter plate, right? In the middle. Let's just look at that real quick. So you don't get this, right? You unfortunately do not get this plate, and this makes Gearing quite a troll when a Smaland or a Holland is shooting it because they only pen 20 millimeters. So about 25% of Gearing's real estate is safe from Holland and Smaland HE. So you unfortunately don't have that on the Yueyang, but so if you did, right, that fight with the Holland would have gone like way, way, way more in my favor because this plate on Gearing is 21. I don't really know why it's not on the Yueyang. It's quite interesting, but yep, Yueyang. In my opinion, it's basically Daring and Yueyang as the kings of solo queue in the tech tree for sure. I put it legitimately up there with Daring, less forgiving, right? Higher skill floor because you don't have smoke to constantly disengage with. You don't have the hydro to save you from torps. You don't have the DPM, the fire starting, and the torps can hit DDs on Daring, obviously. But the Yueyang, it's the game impact potential. It's the ability to just one-shot battleships, totally cripple them with a single rack of torps. YOLO rush any cruiser or battleship in the game, like you saw in that last replay on the Colombo. There's simply no destroyer in the tech tree that would have killed that Colombo. There just legitimately is not a single one other than Yueyang Best Yang, that would get that kill. It's the 20 torps with the crazy stealth, right? It's the combination that lets you like guaranteed. Like me making that play on Colombo, I would say 90% of the time he's dead. Maybe there's a couple of new situations where like he does something really weird and I mispredict what he's gonna do. But assuming I predict what he's gonna do, and you saw like he did the intelligent thing, which was he accelerated to, gain speed, and then he used that speed to turn in to try to juke more torps. But as you saw, it just doesn't save you when 20 of these fucking things are on your ass, right? Yeah, that is Radar Ledge Mod. Yueyang, super, super good. One of the most fun ledge mods in the game. Um, really, really fun. It just enables you to play really aggressive and really a lot more team oriented in a solo queue situation. Um, like maybe we'll do a smoke bot Yueyang video at some point because you can see just how like hilarious it is. But definitely for solo queue, I do just overall prefer Radar Ledge Mod YY. I just think it's better. Like I said, you'll farm way less damage because again, you get like 10 to 12 minutes of smoke time with smoke YY. So obviously, in certain situations, you can farm like pretty mad damage. And what I would recommend, I'm sorry, this is a bit of a ramble, but if you're gonna go smoke YY, then I would 100% just recommend you use the enhanced captain, not the unique captain, because well, one, the extra HP is very nice. Two, you're probably not getting combat scout like you do in Radar YY, because in Radar YY you're more on like the front lines and you're not smoking, obviously. So I would run this captain, one of these captains, and then what I would do is I would do that fire chance build, like I said. Um, I would grab the improved demo expert on that captain, and then what I would probably do in Smoke YY is like maybe drop Fearless Brawler. I would probably drop Fearless Brawler, and I would probably drop Consumables Enhancement and Turret Traverse. That would give you 7 points to play around with. And then what I would probably do with that is go like main battery and AA maybe and fill the tubes, something like that. All right, we're going to stop rambling. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.